What's going on, everybody? Meister Hex here with another episode of Hex Grassroots. It's number 10. After London recovery, we are back on track with my co-host Hex Misha. Hex Misha, how's it going?
Hey guys, good evening everyone. Hex Grassroots is the show and nice to be here. Meister, you said it, we didn't have a stream last week because we had to recover from London. Oh boy, was that a party. It was lit. And we met our today's guest at the party, Big K.
We met in person. We knew Big K, of course, before,
Yeah,
but it's an honor to
we
meet.
used the event to connect, to network, and we found some nice people, and I couldn't be happier with today's guest. Big K is quite a big shot, I would say. So I'm delighted.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we did not only hunt for big names like Big K, but also for typical Hex Grassroots. We met actually a lot of very interesting hexicans that are less known to the community, and for sure we will also stream with them. So stay tuned, guys. Misha, you sound pretty good. What happened with your mic?
Yeah, well, thanks for noticing. I actually do have a new mic. I listened to David Feeder, shout out to him, and I got myself the Elgato Wave 3. And I hope my sound is better now. Let me know in the chat if you hear a difference, and B, if it's actually better.
Let us know in the chat which mic
you use. Yeah, we gotta step up our game, getting the quality better, getting the processes better, and yeah,
getting the community more involved. Yeah, we also have to maybe improve our thumbnail game, like all the YouTubers, right, that do the stupid faces to increase the chances of getting displayed. I think we have some improvement to do there. What do you think, Hex Misha? What's the next step for us?
I don't know. What exactly do you mean by thumbnails? Different pictures, or?
Like, when YouTubers post a upcoming stream on YouTube, they can add a picture of the stream, which is called thumbnail, right? And they usually do like stupid faces because apparently the YouTube algorithm really likes big faces, so they do this like stupid expression, like with an open mouth.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was a fun picture I will show you. Yeah, but maybe that's a new step for us. No, just kidding, guys. We stay original. We don't have a paid
focus on the guest is our stream. We focus on the guest. Only one guest, and focus on the guest. He's in the middle.
Yeah. Absolutely. Before we invite Big K, who's already waiting in the waiting room, Hex Misha, what's up in the Instagram Richard Hart front?
Yeah, exactly. As always, I will show the Instagram of Richard Hart. He has a new post and a new story, and his new post is him arriving in London. We both were in the queue, pretty much in the back, so we weren't close to him. But luckily, we have this video of him arriving, stepping out of the Rolls Royce. So let me show you.
Rolls Royce Phantom, baby. There he is. There you go, mate.
Yep. So that was at the Victoria House, where the venue of the party at Bloomsbury Square in London. Before that, we had a quick pre-game at Princess Louise pub, amazing, beautiful pub in near Bloomsbury Square, with Huddle Dog and Crypto Sparbuch. So that was pretty nice. And let me also show you the story of Richard Hart. It's a picture from Hexologist. And as we can see, Richard Hart as the Noah, rescuing all these coins and cryptos here on the Ark, which is or will be Pulse Chain. Yeah, you guys heard it from David Feeder. Pulse Chain is the second chance of a lifetime. It will be big.
Nice. Yeah, that's a classical Hexo meme, I would say. We also have news regarding the new testnet version 2. I can
Please
also show that. So Richard Hart announced that VC is now live with the validator rotation, and we also have a new video from David Feeder, the man himself, explaining a bit more in that regard. So please make sure to also check David's channel and learn more about the Pulse Chain testnet. It's getting closer and closer. And also with that announcement, what can I say? The price is recovering fast. I mean, we don't care as we are here for the long term. But hey, it does feel
green
good,
candles,
right?
yeah.
Absolutely. It's because of the Hex Grassroots stream, of course, with Big K.
It's because Big K is arriving.
I think it caused some FOMO. People made sure to buy some more hacks, but I can imagine it also has to do something, maybe with the upcoming sacrifice phase of Pulse Swap. And Richard also mentioned that it will start before end of this year. So I can imagine that some of us are reloading the powder, right, to be ready to sacrifice again. What will we sacrifice this time? Is it again for the freedom of speech, or is there another sacrifice?
We will definitely have to talk with Big K about Pulse Swap, Pulse Chain, and also London. I really want to hear the Nordic food story from his perspective. And later, I'm also going to show the Huddle Dog video, the proof of lift video, in full length, 1 minute. It will be fun to talk with him about London. It was fun with him there already. What do you think? Let's bring him on the stream.
Absolutely. Let me remove this one. And yes, guys, as mentioned, Big K, big name, big style, Hex Grassroots number 10. So without further ado, please welcome Big Kurkowski.
Hey, man.
What's going on, gentlemen? How is everybody doing?
Hey, Big K,
how are
good
you,
to
man?
have you.
I'm doing fantastic, man. Super glad to be here. Can't complain one bit. I'm back from London, feeling fresh, feeling well rested.
Nice.
You know, ready to go.
That's awesome. I
Awesome,
see you
awesome.
got a glass of wine, yeah? Excellent.
After party.
sir. Always. You like to keep it
Show
rolling
must
here.
go on.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, I met you. We met each other quite at the end of the party, right? I have to admit, I was also a little intoxicated by that time, but I do remember you.
Oh yeah, I remember meeting y'all. It was towards the end, but like I said, that was honestly when I finally got the chance to like relax and settle down for a little bit. I was pretty busy working with having performers and folks that were that we had coordinated for the event, making sure that everything was moving smoothly with everybody there. So yeah, I was busy but also enjoying the whole party the whole time. Cool. So I definitely there's somebody knocking at my door. Hang on one second, y'all, gentlemen.
Hey, Richard Hart, man. Special guest. Yeah, absolutely. I was also surprised with the event itself, because there were a couple of dancers and these guys with this suit made out of glass. There was a professional singer. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So there was a lot of like nice side notes to that.
Yeah, there was. We had to have some good performers. We had to have some good stuff to entertain all the amazing Hexkins. I really appreciated everyone coming out. So like I definitely wanted to kick it up a notch and go as far as I could go to make sure that we had some top end entertainment as well. Yeah, the dancers were cool. The girls looked great. The performers were pretty awesome. Like I liked that. The mirror ball girl was pretty top notch. So. I
absolutely. That was really cool. So Big K, were you part of the maybe you can share some insights, were you part of the organization team or?
I mean, I've been part of the production team for, a producer for the Highest of Stakes documentary that we're putting together, which I'm sure y'all have seen the trailers and everything for that. So, we were also interested in putting together a event as well for the 2-year anniversary. And then when Richard's team was interested in doing it too, we thought it was a great opportunity to jump on. We figured we'd get a bunch of great footage of not only, him, us, all the rest, but also of all Hexicans that wanted to come out and say, and, we had a lot of opportunity for people to, either meet meet Richard in person, or also say their piece on stage and give a shout out as well. I mean, so like all that was awesome. I mean, like I really enjoy seeing the community come out and be a part of it all together. I mean, it's one thing, we do this all the time on stream, which, don't get me wrong, I don't discount it whatsoever, but there's something about the tangibility of things, of giving someone a hug in person.
Absolutely. And Richard, he really took the time to take a picture with everyone, hugged everyone, and also the other big names like Hexo, Funding Jim. They were all there, easy to talk to. That was like the biggest surprise for me, and all how chill and cool the people were, and how easy they were to talk to. And even if you were standing randomly next to someone, you just started to talk to them because you had a topic, Hex, and people came up to introduce themselves, just to talk. It was amazing how chill it was.
It's great. It's a great, like, that whole dynamic is super awesome because, I mean, in general, I don't feel like any Hexicans, the biggest name Hexicans or whatever, we're not that anybody's, like, it wasn't that long ago that, like, I wasn't live streaming at all. Nobody knew me. I mean, the experience is unique and wild for me too. Like I caught a little bit of that feeling in Vegas, 6 months ago or so, but really I this time, having as many folks that were there, excited to meet me, excited to take a selfie with me, all that stuff, like that's relatively new feeling for me and Hexologist and all of us too. So like we're all growing with the community and enjoying that feeling, in the moment as well. So like, I mean, none of us know how to, we're not, 3 layers of security deep or anything like that, none of that, we're definitely not there yet, so I mean, I still really enjoyed like meeting everybody, and that was the super awesome, like just in general, the exchanges I had with people were fantastic. Most everyone that was there was really excited to be there, and like I said before, kind of had their reason for being, whether they wanted to see this party, whether they wanted to have a chance to thank Richard, whether they wanted to have a chance to get a selfie, whatever it was. I mean, the opportunity was there, and within the time and space, multiple times for everybody to get what they wanted out of it, which I think was super important. And like I said, it brought me here, which is awesome. I'm really stoked to have met you guys. I'm really glad to be able to come aboard and say hello.
We're honored awesome. You joined us, PK. And I also have to add that I was positively surprised how many people were participated the event that were not Hexicans. They were Pulsicans, or like sacrificers, or they built on top of Pulse Chain. So that too shows, right?
It was really cool to see, like, if people are interested in other developments on Pulse Chain, there is a lot. That was very interesting.
NFT boys
for me to
were
see.
there.
They're NFT boy. There's a lot of that. There's NFT folks that are there. There's people that have entire ideas for game platforms that are there. There's people that like have really unique, cool finance pieces that I think are necessary to the the system as well. So I think that there's a ton of bright like shining spots like in the community that were there that I wasn't expecting either. I as someone who's been in Hex as long as I have, the Pulse dynamic of it seeming to be a more popular thing before it's even in existence than Hex ever was so far is really something to behold, so like it has me learning and catching up along the way as well, and we throw an event like the 731 gathering, and then I'm playing catch up for a week afterwards on all the developments of what's been happening on on Twitter and on Telegram and on everything else. So it's tough to balance it all. And then somebody will be like, "Hey, did you catch that stream?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't. I'm trying. I will. I'll see. I will promise."
Big K, where are you? Where are you? we were maybe we were worried that maybe you mistaken the time with your local time, which is, I can imagine, a couple of hours earlier. But
no, I didn't do that. But I did. It's middle of the day for me, so I was very nice and put my daughter to bed for nap time, and may have laid down and taken quite a little bit extra nap myself. So yeah, there wasn't.
nice.
It wasn't by design, but yeah, it's. I mean, as a kid, as a dad of two, that's like, if you get 10 extra minutes to fall asleep, I'll do it. As y'all might have seen me on stream the other day on the happy hour, the little anniversary thing we did, which, I mean, we were on for 6 hours.
Well, yeah, that was a long one, actually, right? Usually they're not that long, right?
No. Usually we'll do like 3 hours at a time, but 6 was
nice.
That was fun. That was fun.
That was close to Richard Hart, you could say.
Yeah, yeah, he knows how to do some long streams, that's for sure.
But still, long way to Hexo standards.
Yeah, I mean, the 24-hour stuff is wild. I mean, I got to participate in that, but like I slept in between. I made sure to take a little.
Yeah, I mean, we are still beginners. We do 1, maybe 2 hours, so we are new. We are new on the scene.
There's Children of the Grave. Yep, he had my $10 wake up call. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate that. Oh man, yes, yeah. That's the thing, is that when I first got started, I was, I mean, I think we were doing, I was just doing the Friday night effing hangouts, which, I mean, we do a couple hours or so here and there, and I mean.
Yeah, that's always by the captain, the Friday one.
Yes, that was where I started streaming. And then when I did Bingo Earth stuff, we'd keep it to like tight within an hour, because I always wanted to do it like finish right before Hexologists went on. So like I'd tried to, maybe it would be like an hour and 20 at most, but it was always pretty tight. So I haven't done a 6-hour one in a little while. It was fun. That was enjoyable.
Not bad. Yeah, you deserve the 10 minutes nap then, 100%.
Yeah, we usually do 1 hour to 90 minutes, also not too long, but as always, focus on the guest. And because we actually always start with our guest asking him about how he got into crypto in general, like starting in the past and then moving onwards through present and future. So, of course, only share what you want to share, but it would be interesting to hear when you first touched it, got into it.
So I mean, the first, I think somebody, I used to work music events, like live music, artist relations, hospitality, events. And I think somebody in the music scene somewhere mentioned the Silk Road and Bitcoin and all that at one point in time. And like, it just washed right over me. It didn't really hit on anything. So I guess the first time I heard about it was that, but like that really didn't make an impact on me. Like Monero did. I'm a gamer too. I played lots of games, less now that I've been in Hex, but quite a bit still in my day. And I had heard through a gaming forum that I was on, trying to find some information about, I want to say Dota at the time. If it wasn't Dota, it was probably probably Dota. And I was trying to figure out I was just trying to do some game research. I stumbled across a post that somebody had mentioned that they make about $3 a day running their graphics card, making Monero, doing mining cryptocurrency. And I was like, what is that? And so I got into reading about Monero, and it checked a lot of the boxes for me. I'm a freedom loving kind of person. I like, the anonymity of Monero kind of hit on some of the parts that I thought were, what might actually be necessary in a digital economical world. So I started turning my graphics card on and making $3 a day. And before I knew it,
what year was it, Big K?
This was 2016. So this is probably like middle 2016. I want to say it was like right around my birthday, August, because I ended up getting a second graphics card right around then for like with some of the money I had from my birthday or something. And and next thing I know, I'm making $6 a day, and I was hooked, so then I'm putting together an old computer and trying to find whatever old graphics card I could, I was super interested, and I mean, within, I don't know, a couple months or so, I had 2 or 3 computers in my little office that I had, cooking.
And what kind of software did you use?
I used so at the time I was still gaming, so my computers were all Windows based at the time, and I would probably be just using, so that at that point in time there was a Claymore miner, and there was another one that was a pretty big mining program at the time, that I was running one of the 2 of them.
Okay, so you just start the program and start the mining, and then
basically make yourself a public address, or a wallet, put the public address in the right spot, double click an exe, mess around with some settings to get your hash rate working, making sure that you're not like over killing the fan and that kind of thing.
And did you have the knowledge to set up the rig?
Yeah, I mean, I because I'm like a gamer, and like at the time, besides just doing video game stuff, and I also have, my degree that I finished is in mathematics. So in that, I also have done plenty of building my own computer, and I had like A+ certification already. So like I know my hardware pretty decently.
Nice.
So and then like I'd done some, like later on in the story, I was a project manager for a company and like built like network modules, but at this time I knew enough to be able to put a couple graphics cards together, and was hooked. I thought that like I could do what I like to do, which is build. I love tinkering with computers in general, and then also I'm making pretty solid cash at it. It wasn't until I like actually had to put my Monero onto a platform. I went on to Poloniex to trade, and I figured out that there was even anything else. Like I didn't even really it didn't really even fully occur to me that this was part of the Bitcoin ecosystem or cryptocurrency. Like I don't really know. That wasn't like, just, it wasn't big in my sphere. So I didn't.
So you got into cryptocurrency through Monero, not through Bitcoin, like most of us. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Nice.
And it was, like I said, it wasn't until I got on Poloniex that I was like, what are all these other things, and that was when I was like, oh, there's a whole thing out here going on, and I didn't know about it, so that was how I was kind of introduced to crypto. I can remember I sold almost all the Monero that I mined at like $30 and thought I was a genius. I thought it was like $30 from 3 to 30. I was like, this is incredible. Woo, party. And then it went up to 3, and like that bull run, it went up to 360 before tapping out. And I was just like,
oh, damn.
So like I learned my lesson pretty early on about, buying and selling lows, buying the lows and selling the highs, and how that all works. Like I definitely felt it pretty hard, and realized that, like, you think things can go up a lot, and then they do another 100x, and you're like, oh, that's okay. That's
but at least you initiate your sellings.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I didn't. At the time, I didn't DCA my sellings at all. At the time, I built up a whole stack of Monero and then just sold it all at $30 and was like, all right, I'm a genius. I was very silly. And I learned a lot in the process, because like I then went, after I sold a bunch and tried to play, I was still mining, and I was building bigger rigs. And by this point in time, I had turned my garage into a mining facility. It was like, very loud, very hot place to be. And probably put together at least 5 or 6 rigs like that, 6-7 cards a piece, and then
only for Monero or other coins as well?
No. So then I started to get into the roulette of shitcoinery that there is, and was like, I read everything that there was on Bitcoin Talk at bitcointalk.org at the time, like the forum for all this. Like I must have read back before. Like I can remember reading the entire thread for Ethereum. I can remember reading back, till when Satoshi was still talking. I got so involved that like I was not only learning the hardware side of things, which was a lot, but then I was also learning like the background of everything as well. I was just super into it, and God love my wife for putting up with all of that, amidst us. Like I had my daughter in 2017, so like, I'm like birthing a cryptocurrency existence career at the same time, a child, and a lot of that took up a ton of my, it was full-time on both ends the whole time. So it was a lot, you know. But we did, and I ended up scaling even larger than that and putting together like a facility that we probably, then I got into Bitcoin mining and Ethereum mining and everything else that there was under the sun.
So you did that in 2016 and 2017, I can imagine.
2017, yeah. So like my run up was pretty sick, you know. We didn't go full commercial grade facility until mid 2017. So like I paid a decent price for equipment, but by the time everything was set up and running, the bottom was falling out, and you know, most everybody was losing their asses. So you know, I was enjoying in that pain as well. So I rode the market pretty hard down, and was wrong about most of that. Like I said, in the height of it all, Richard was warning people Bitcoin Cash was foolish. Roger was wrong. I was calling him an idiot and blocking him because
Richard or Roger?
Oh, Richard. Oh, Richard.
Oh, really?
I blocked Richard. Thought he was an idiot. Mined my Bitcoin Cash weighed right to a lower balance than I had before, and learned a lot of painful lessons. You know, like I definitely wasn't like I didn't hear Richard immediately and be like, oh, this guy's got it. You know, I was like, screw this guy. He's telling me all the things that I didn't like to hear. And
yeah.
And I mean, in the end, he was most definitely right. And Roger, that camp was most definitely wrong. But like it took quite a bit of pain and suffering for me, at least, you know, for me to like realize that and go so far as to like I had blocked Richard, so I had to go and unblock him. I mean, I only used Twitter for cryptocurrency stuff. Like I only got on there because back in like the mining times that I was mining in, like all the ASICs that were released, any of this hardware that was being released by these Chinese companies at 3 a.m, and the fastest way you could get the information was Twitter. You know, you couldn't like they'd release the A3 miner would come out, and I'd like have an alert on my phone for Bitmain, and you know, and I'd have to like roll over out of bed and try and like, oh shit, they're releasing something. Bye. You know, like I didn't even know half the time. I didn't even have enough time to research to know what the hell you were like buying. You just bought one regardless, you know. And
I mean, Big K, was there only literally like one decent provider of mining, like Bitmain, or?
I mean, there was probably 5, you know, there's probably 5 like decent ones if you weren't going graphics cards route, you know. If you're going like with ASICs, you know, there was and they're all competing and doing different things. There's like a company that I basically invested startup money into to create the Siacoin miners that were like part of the Siacoin, you know, development team that like just got beat to market by Bitmain and got like lost everyone basically all their money. So like they were a painful one. Then there was also like the lesser knowns that are kind of stealing ideas from Bitmain, like EBIT, and I mean I could name a whole bunch of these miners, but they're all basically got like, to me, I feel like, you know, I haven't received. There's been multiple companies that I've received miners from that they were already used. You know, like that's like it's painful. You know, you're just like, okay, well, I'm going to lose money on this now. That's great.
Okay.
That you know, so like that sucks. You know. Yes, I can't believe I blocked Richard. Yes, I definitely did. I learned a lot through that experience, you know, because like it wasn't until like I hit like, you know, the bottom of like my crypto experience. Like, I mean, down your 85-95+%, you know, when I'm like, man, this couldn't get any possibly worse, that I, you know, decided out of whatever intelligence I had to like, maybe I needed to listen to some other people. And when I unblocked him, I still remember, to this day, when he said, like the first thing scrolling through on his feed that he said, if you don't understand what all the top 10 coins offer the marketplace and what they're doing in the top 10, then you have no business telling anybody about cryptocurrency whatsoever. And I looked at the top 10 coins and I was like, oh, I don't know what like 5 of these do. Oh boy. So like, I was like, I've been in this industry for now 2-3 years. I better, you know, pull my head out of my ass, for lack of a better word, and like understand what's actually of value here. And like started to go on like a quest for that, you know, kind of like what is actually like worth anything in this industry. And that's what really led me to the censorship resistance of, you know, what we actually are, what Richard finds there to be value into, you know. That's where
you were saying you read through all the threads in the forum back to Satoshi but there was so much innovation coming out that you couldn't keep up, or
No, it's not that there was that I couldn't keep up. It's, I mean, there's just that, like, I mean, how do I put it? Like, there's a lot of scams and a lot of garbage that's on the internet, and Bitcoin Talk at least became more so a mouthpiece for people to use to peddle things that are going to wreck you in the end. Then it became a place of like actual real good information. I'm not saying that you can't find good information on there. I'm not saying that there's not good ways to find avenues through like all the mining resources that I still have some, like I still haven't, like, it's not like I remove myself from every group that I have ever been in, or like close off, burn bridges and close channels. So like some of that I've all gotten to through Bitcoin Talk, and I still think that there's a lot that can be like you can learn from there, but like I don't feel like progressively going forward it's the best place of information for people to congregate or spend their time.
Are you still active in the forum?
No, I haven't. I'll be honest. Like, I mean, like I said, I'll lurk once in a while, but I haven't been and made a post on there. And
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember back in 2017, 16, it was quite, it was also before then, 2013, 14, it was like the source of information, right? The forum, even like airdrops were announced.
Airdrops were announced. That's where, I mean, I found some of my last, because like I'd say that, like, one of the things that Richard taught me that like he was very right about was that, like, almost entirely right about, 95% right about, is that if you would have just bought the coin instead of buying the hardware and mining for the coin, almost every time you will come out price positive with just buying the coin. That is true, except in the unique situation of new coin speculation. When there's not actually a market available and there's not actually any of these coins on the market, the supply and demand dynamic ratio is such that you can find, you can mine winners in that you wouldn't have been able to even get your hands on that many coins at that point in time to be able to sell at whatever price you want to. So like,
but would you say it's still possible, because this requires the coin running on proof of work, and I think it's decreasing, right? It's more proof of stake, I can imagine now.
Yes, that's the thing, is that like, because it's more proof of stake, I mean, you just see less opportunities in that. I mean, most of these proof of work coins, have had, like, there are people that are still mining them and still, trying to squeeze out gains, but it's just less so than it was before. I mean, before there was proof of work coins coming up all the time. You could constantly be on forums and waiting for new ones to be dropped, and there was speculative gains to be made in all of that. Now, again, just like everything else in crypto, you'd have several losers for every one winner, and depending on the amount of electricity that you're wasting on that, it's tough. I mean, I can remember Richard talking about like the last two that were actually semi-profitable for me that I mined pre-Hex, like right when Hex was like becoming a thing. It hadn't been released yet, but in 2019, Beam and Grin and Veil all came out. They're all three different coins that came out using Mimblewimble, which is like the last like unique, interesting thing that came out in the proof of work sphere, and at least in my mind. I mean, there's a couple other things that came out since then, but not nearly as profitable. Those coins were actually very profitable to mine early on if you knew
the Mimblewimble coins.
Yes. If you
can you explain a little bit what that is? Maybe some of us may not be familiar with the term.
So Mimblewimble is like, several times over in cryptocurrency, there's been innovations that have come about, and they get released. Typically speaking, they seem to get released, the best of the best get released somewhat anonymously. I mean, I felt like Monero's architecture, the kryptonite algorithm that exists, the way that the system is meant to keep your balances. I mean, if you don't keep track of your own balances, it's hard to know how many coins you actually have. That system was unique, and it was released anonymously, similar to Satoshi's release, and used for evil more than not. Like, I mean, most of the kryptonite algorithms have been exploited, before, and there's been inflation bugs and all the rest in those. But they were innovation. They definitely offered a layer of ring signature mixing that like wasn't available in Bitcoin, for anonymity. That was great. And along comes now a newer piece of tech called Mimblewimble, which is a style of blockchain that it's like like at the basis of it, it's it's kind of been a long time since I've thought about this, so I'm going to probably get this wrong for the technical people out there. They're probably going to hate me for this, but it's like a self-pruning blockchain in the sense that it you only through the algorithm that they're using, or like the consensus method that they use, I don't believe that you need to be storing the entirety of the blockchain with as you do in previous blockchains. You can use the proof of the previous block and what you have now and say, oh, using this set of proofs, I can't remember the name of it. I want to say I can't remember.
Like Merkle tree, something.
I want to say that, but that's not right. It's not right. It's not right. It's something like that, though. Let's say there's a style of math that they're like, oh, using this proof of what we already have here and what we're going with, we can verify that the rest of the blockchain is good, and you don't need to be storing gigabytes and gigabytes of data. So that would be a huge innovation. Now, and then there's some claim that they're going to be able to implement this technology on some other blockchains. We haven't seen that happen. We haven't really seen that happen. We haven't seen it take incredible use case and run with it or anything like that. So I'm not saying that there's not value in all of that or technical innovation, because clearly people did math to make thing work, and other people tried to break thing and it was difficult to break, so there's something's there. I'm just just not enough for me to be mining it or giving that much of a shit of it anymore in the wake of Hex and Pulse and everything else that we're a part of now. I mean, like there's cool ideas being crafted out there in the world all the time, and Hexicans in general are going to get to be first party to some of those cool ideas because of the wealth that's been generated here. So but just everyone should know that that doesn't mean you have to run down every rabbit hole that there is, because some of them are going to be somewhat dead ends, and I felt like this
Absolutely.
it's a cool project, and there was some interesting stickiness there. I liked the anonymity of the creators in that situation too, and the Mimblewimble thing, and the what's his name, I think Tom Bombadil or something. There's a whole bunch of Harry Potter references in their white paper, in the code of it all, and everything. It's cool, nifty. Sure, why not?
So you joined the cryptocurrency scene for, you could say, for ideological reasons, mining Monero, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was money. It was money and ideology. Like, I mean, I don't know if I would have mined Monero if it wasn't worth something.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it was also like, I liked Monero's ideology. I liked what it had to offer. I liked what crypto in general had to offer. I mean, I've always been a like whatever counterculture kind of person. Like I said, I grew up doing music festivals. Like my mom had me pretty young, and I did. Like I lived her 20s going to see Grateful Dead shows, when I was a kid. So like, I mean, I've worked out on the edge of the fringe of whatever's acceptable, many times in my life, and I like to push the bounds, so
Nice.
I felt like that this was the right place for me too. It's like, oh, this is somewhere where people are pushing the bounds, somewhere where people are trying new things, and I liked that there was no cookie cutter way to do it. You'd have to go on a forum and ask some dude if you had a problem with your mining rig, and like there's maybe 10 people that could be like, oh yeah, I've had that problem happen before, and like then you're working on it with some
may I ask, you mentioned that you were on Twitter, and then you got the notification from China 4 a.m. in the morning, new gear coming out, and you were like in this race, okay, I gotta get the new gear to be on top, so you ordered it. And then when you got the next generation, did you have to throw away old gear, or?
Well, thankfully, I mean, I never got like I probably got big enough at one point in time to where I was at like our biggest. I'd say I had maybe 4% of our gear that I would have to kind of make a determination on. I didn't have the electricity. I had at the point in time I was running like 3 different facilities. One was a large facility with probably like 100 plus graphics cards at least running, 50 plus ASIC miners running at a time.
And can you share the location approximately? Was it in the US or?
Yeah, I had a location in Florida. There's like the power was relative. I sourced everywhere that I could around there. I mean, like I was able to source pretty good industrial power pretty cheaply up in Tallahassee at that point in time, which is
so you did the research. Actually, it was not because you grew up in Florida, but you did
no,
the research.
I was at that point in time I was in Florida too, so I was like ideally hoping that we would be, you know, and it was cheaper than, I mean, my next nearest place that I was going to find cheaper power was going to be like Louisiana, which, I mean, I like New Orleans, it's a cool place too, but I wasn't trying to drive out to New Orleans regularly or move my family out there or anything like that. So finding somewhere that was within a reasonable distance from me was helpful. You know, it was, like I said, it was nice to, when I found out, I was like, oh, this power is better here than Georgia or where, you know, several other spots near me. So, so that worked, you know, as when, again, it was when things were hot, you know, when mining was up, you know, didn't really matter where you were mining it. It was great, but I was trying to reduce I was cutting it as close as I could. I mean, like you could, at the point in time, I think my cheapest power bill was under 7 cents a kilowatt hour, which like isn't, you know, serious miners will tell you that, like, you know, you want to be in the 1 to 4 cent range, you know, to like actually be super profitable. But like for a small facility during a bull run when things were hot like that, 7 cents was good.
Nice.
But so coming back to Richard Hart, you give him 95%. What he said that it would have been better to just buy the coin.
Yeah, it would have been just better to buy the coins. There's a couple times where
getting disappointed when getting used gear, the electricity bill.
So much disappointment. And then at the end of the day, like it's for a lot of work too. Like once you scale, like I don't do well with institutionalization. So like whenever I feel like I'm becoming part of the system, you know, in some way, I really kind of retract from that. I'm not like very excited to, you know, like put myself through meat grinders. So and with crypto, with mining, I found that the meat grinder aspect of it that was that it was actually a painfully loud, painfully hot, painfully annoying job to work in a mining facility, and wasn't any actual fun. And the amount of actual like tinkering at your machines to like figure out new cool, increase the hash rate and all that. No, it's mostly just doing your best to keep things running as best as possible and struggling mightily through, you know, like I said, industrial noise and heat.
Yeah, sounds stressful, man.
Super stressful. It was like the end of the, like, you know, it sounds great until you're in full application of it. And like, it's me running most of 99% of it. And just,
it was your full-time job, BK, back then? Or at a certain point of time was a full-time job for you, the mining?
Yes, I made it a full-time job for a while, and you know, through the painfulness of 2017, the markets decided that it wasn't going to be a full-time job for me. At some point in time, I had to realize that, like, you know, like I said, that I was getting my ass handed to me so hard that I was just better off to sit on my hands and turn off machines than it was for me to keep mining my way into oblivion.
Yes.
So I did, and then like went into, you know, some other work as well. I, you know, consulted for some companies and did some project management for some companies. Installed some, like I said, I worked on I parlayed the network skills that I had into an installation, you know, career where I was like working for a company installing cameras on railroads, high end, like the Bosch ones. And we'd have to build like, you know, full radio towers and systems that were all running in the middle of nowhere, you know, so you do like, here's a power hookup, you know, make it all work, you know, so you have to, you know, install, like I built the designs and plans and everything for those and how the systems would work for large setups of that. And did that for a while. And, you know, all while still interested in crypto and still while mining and and then I also worked for a company doing building out some like a computer network system there for tracking, basically invoicing system for tracking scrap metal too. So I've done several different things in there to like keep income coming in. Like I said, as a family of 2 kids goes, you definitely want to keep the little bread on the table.
100%.
But I never like stopped my like love for crypto and working pretty hard at figuring out what was there. I mean, I had built up quite a large deficit in all of this that I was working my way out of, and trying to figure out what, like I said, what was of value here. I mean, like I knew that crypto was going to be a thing. I knew that there was going to be another bull market. I knew that it was a waiting game. I was aware of all of those things, but like, stomaching an entire 3-year cycle that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Absolutely.
to stomach. So, I did that, but wanted to find myself poised to be in a good position when the next, run came. And that's when, like I said, I had opened up my eyes to Richard and to,
when
really
was the unblocking? What year approximately?
The unblocking.
The big K unblocking of
so it was towards the end of 2018. It was towards the end of that
time.
Because it was a perfect time, really, because like I remember seeing and reading about what he was working on with Bitcoin Hex, because like I said, I remember seeing what he had said about the markets. It was towards the end of 2018 when he had said that. And
that's the middle of the bear market, you could say, right? Like end of 18.
Yeah, it was the middle of the bear market.
Down.
I mean, it didn't get exactly. It was towards, and like I didn't really start paying attention to him until December. I can remember like starting to engorge myself on his videos around the very end of 2018. So it was like December 2018 or so. And I caught some, I was like, okay, this is a thing. And there's this Bitcoin Hex thing. And like, that's going to be a thing. Because I can remember mine, like I said, in early 2019, I can remember Richard doing a stream and talking. He spoke about Grin and Veil and Beam, the projects that I was talking about. And he talked about how he didn't even bother. He's like, he was on a stream and he's like, I got a rig full of 1080s right back here. He's like, not turning it on, not worth it. Difficulty through the roof. And he didn't tell you what coin he was talking about. I knew exactly what fucking coins he was talking about. And I know, like I said, he was talking about the big ones, Grin and Beam, but there was also Veil at the time too that I had been mining too that was like lesser known.
Oh, wow.
And like when the hash rate wasn't super like spun out on the others, you could you could move between them and find yourself some ebbs and flows of money to make.
That's really cool because like I remember that Richard Hart often mentions exactly that point, but most of us are never done mining. So I can imagine that for you, experiencing it from a first-hand experience, it was a very good wake-up call, you could say.
Oh, 100%. Because like it taught me several things. Like it gave me several inclinations about the dude. Like first of all, he knows his shit. I mean, the idea that he knew he's got a rig ready to go to mine if in case there is an opportunity somewhere, whether it be here, there, the Bitcoin network, whatever, wherever the hash rate is low, he's definitely a hustler, So like, even if he doesn't fully believe in what he's, he's not trying to mine or anything like that, but like, it's hard when you're a hustler, it's hard to, that's an income stream if, and you'd like to be able to have the power to, to tap into that if need be. So like, I learned a lot about who he was from that. And also his knowledge, like, he has this ability to keep up with like peripheral knowledge in areas that he hasn't, when we were in London, he taught me, I didn't realize that AVAX is, their swap thing is called Trader Joe's. That's funny. I didn't know that. And like, he's working on 10 other projects and a bunch of other things, but he has the time to make sure to be aware of other competing projects, what the silly names that they're giving their shit, so like, I mean, it's like that has helped me. Like I said, I didn't ever, because of that, I haven't ever like, told all my previous mining buddies to go fuck themselves. I haven't, gone out of my way to ostracize myself and, or burn any bridges along the way, because I'd still like to have you know, at least a rounded version of knowledge in that area as well, you know. So I mean, it's useful. It's useful to, you know, be able to cross-pollinate your information.
Absolutely. And then in the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, you started to follow Richard more intensively, watching his streams.
Yes. Started following him very intensively, and like and paid very close attention to the entire Hex project from like I said, basically that time it was, you know, process where I was moving all my life and changing things to fit this consulting job that I had been working. And so I had less mining capacity than I had before. And so I was, you know, deciding which machines to run and not run. And in doing that, the more I listened to Richard, the more I just was like, oh, this machine is a big pain in the ass right now. Screw it. I'm turning it off. And, you know, this one's, you know, whatever, screw it, I'm turning it off. And so, and even the ones that I kept on, the entire principle that I was running at that point in time was that I needed to amass as much Bitcoin as I could, because I needed to free claim as much as I could, because I needed to turn it into Ethereum right after that. And I needed to get it in as hard as I could to Hex. And I mean, in that, I got to see the development. Like, I mean, I'm intelligent enough, you know, I'll say, but I'm not like cutting edge spear tip of the spear technology. So like I remember seeing, you know, Dev Kyle discussing some of the issues with and the need for the share system, and
in the chat or in the stream,
in Telegram, in like the Telegram. Hex crypto chat, like early on. I remember discussing you know, what the logo should look like, what the colors should be, the different gradients people talked about. I remember a lot of the arguments like in chat about all that stuff.
So you got involved pretty early, not like day one. It was day minus 200 or something.
Yeah, like January. Like I consider myself like Hexacan in the truest term by January, February of 2019. Like I was pretty hooked on like so I lived through the 4 more weeks forever, because like at that time I was like, I'd just gotten into this community, and I felt like, oh, it's coming. Like Richard's gonna have this, is gonna be a thing like next quarter. No, it was not next quarter. It was like
this 1 year or something.
1 year later, basically, or like 10 months later. You know,
and how many people were on the dev team? And did you know some of them? You mentioned Dev Kyle.
No, I didn't actually know. I didn't actually know any of like the original developers. There's some I knew kind of offhandedly some of the names that Richard kept on the website. You know, because I remember like Dan was on the website. There's a couple other people that were on there that actually none of their code ended up making it into the Hex smart contract at all. So like the developer who's 90 some odd % of the code came about later. And like I wasn't, and like I know that Dev Kyle really was integral in working out some of these programs. I mean, his modeling simulation was super important early on to figure out how the system would actually operate, you know, based on the parameters that Richard was trying to code into it. And I mean, it was through that you know, like I said, the discovery was made that longer didn't always pay better without a share rate system built in, or that I remember them discussing Richard understanding like that we couldn't reward people day one entries. Like he wanted to reward early people for being in the system early, but if you did it right when they get into the system, that like then day people are like 1,000x down. It scales all, you know, really crazily, you know. So like that's where Big Payday came from, because Big Payday had to exist at the end of the year so that people could get their bonus for being in the system early, but it wouldn't outride everybody else's bonus that came later, you know. So like that, those like tricks of math, in the sense that like you have to figure that stuff, you like, until you model systems and model them again and then model them again, you don't know how you're going to break it, you know. And we watching everybody figure out how things would get broken and how to make them right. And like at the end of it all, like the system of just creating you know, interest in a fair and distributing it in a fair way to make time actually matter is like seems pretty simple, you know, but it took a lot of complexities to make happen. And I mean, now it's, you know, there are these aha things where like once you understand the share rate and why it exists, you can't imagine a world of staking without it in it. You know, you're like, oh, it's of course there's that has to be there. That's of course. But like at the time we were like, oh no, you can just like make the coins and then give them out and it just works, you know. And like that wasn't exactly the case, you know. And you know, if we don't model things properly, we would never know, you know. So there's like being a part of just feeling all of these stages through it all has been awesome, because I mean even after it was released, we learned so much about the system.
And that was all discussed in this Telegram group, like the center communication platform for the project.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Richard had some, like, you know, there's a private dev chat, and there's, you know, this, you know, there's some other ones, but like most of all the information that was out there to be known or talked about was going on in that chat to begin with.
And if you proved yourself in the main chat, you would immediately be invited into the, you could say, secret chats.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And like I said, I'm not a programmer by any stretch of the imagination. Sure. Like I said, I've programmed some projects and built an invoicing system or some basic database shit and everything. But like, I'm not a full stack at fucking anything, you know? So, I'm not, so like, I definitely don't claim to be. I do know, and like I said, I do know enough about A+ and hardware to get my way around mining, and enough about command line and running and installing Linux to get around mining. But like, was I developing, you know, mining software? No, that's not me. So like I definitely come from like a higher than amateur level, but definitely not, you know, this is, you know, not pro level development by any.
But this is pretty impressive that you got involved. You not only heard about the Hex project back then, but you got actively involved in the Telegram chats. You were reading them, you were contributing maybe some ideas, or like just discussing, or even just memes, whatever. So that's pretty impressive. That you must be one of the most earliest Hexicans, like top, I don't know, 100, top 50.
I mean, I definitely was in, I mean, I believe, and like, you know, the thing is though, about that truth though, is that there's some early Hexicans that we know that had all the opportunity too, that like, whether it be life or their own FUD or their own feelings on it, like didn't take the positions that I think that they had the opportunity to take. So like, I mean, and like my ability to stake my like where I was at, you know, came from like, you know, the community doing this grassroots thing. Like I can remember many times over early on, even though my conviction was pretty solid, you know, on this project, I believe, you know, that this was, you know, something very new and awesome.
Amazing.
I still was, you know, like it's still questionable when from day 1 to 33, we went basically nothing but down. There was a lot of pain in that. And like, you know, honestly, having Hexologist, you know, show up and do his thing, like helped a ton, you know, because like I would watch his daily streams and feel more confident about what I was like, at least that there was somebody else that was riding this downward with me and feeling the pain. Because like I did FOMO in early day 1 and like put in a good chunk of ETH. I mean,
day 1,
yeah, day 1. I mean, I put in I put in a sizable amount. I tell people like that like is I mean more than your average. I wasn't planning on putting all 40 of those ETH in the pot, but I did.
In the day 1, you FOMO'd in on day 1.
40 ETH, yeah.
But you know, the thing was is that I realized pretty quickly on that it was the wrong thing to do. Like I like within hours, maybe days, you know, like day 2, day 3, I was like, ooh. So like I did the only other thing that like, you know, Richard said to do, which was like stake whatever you can, as long as you can, as far as you can. So like everything that I've got in those day 1 entries went out for, I have like a big 10-year and a big 15-year stake, like a 555, most of that out, you know.
And how big was the dip in the first 30 days?
Oh, it was painful. I mean, it was like, you got to figure that going from it was like 21,000 ETH in the pot on day 1. And that there was double the supply, so to counteract it. So you could really say that there was about 10,500 ETH put in the pot in day 1, and on day 2 it was 6,000, and on day 3 it was 2,000. So like within 2 days, you just like it was you know, you're down to what 80% loss of your value. You know, ouch.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that didn't get any better. I mean, we went all the way down to what, like a couple hundred ETH in there.
And you said a very important point, BK, because like Hex still receives a lot of hate from the overall crypto community up until today, after being operational 100% uptime, free audits for 2 years. Guys who have not been there back then, their hate was 20x higher back then. The shit talk about Hex, the hate, it was crazy, and our community was pretty small back then. So kudos also to Hex. So it helped.
Yes, I've been called a lot of different names, that's for sure. People have said a lot of silly things, and that's all the fun that you have to find a way to fight through too. And I mean, like, I've been we've gotten a little bit more of that recently because of the magnitude of this last dip that we just were experiencing. That is not going to change. We all know the picture of the psychology of a market cycle, and everybody is going to feel those feelings throughout any time we go up and down. It's just part of it, I mean,
but there are many also. For me, I always have to think about Ken Bozak. You know him, I can imagine. So he accused Hex of being a scam back then, but then he also apologized also publicly that he was wrong. He didn't do his research, and he's kind of like a symbolic figure for me. That after some certain amount of time, you can't just throw out accusations like Hex is a scam without backing it up. So I think over time it gets less and less. But back then it was crazy amount of hate. It was unbearable. And also that's why seeing absolutely. So Hexologist, one of the few streamers back then, really helped you to get through this.
He lifted you up and you thanked him, yeah?
Yes. Oh man, it was super awesome to be able to thank him and have him out in London with us. So it's like, I mean, there's really nothing I could have thought of, no better way that I could think of to have offered a thanks to him than that. I mean, I have been happily tossing him lemons and super chats and all the rest and everything nice. From since the beginning, because like I've gotten tons of value from him. I mean, there's been times when like we'll probably get into Puerto Rico talk as well and my move and everything else, but like there's times when I decided to make that move and I was very like, I mean, I started the move down here alone, without my family's help. Like they're supporting me for sure, but they weren't here for the first couple months I was down here. And we're in the middle of a pandemic too, so like those two things were pretty crippling. It was definitely not an exciting spot. Like I questioned what I was doing several times over. Every day I basically found solace, and 7:45 I knew that I was going to have I was going to get a chance to hang out with my crew and and enjoy Hexo doing his thing and feel how we all felt together, like that like communal thing was a flagship of my day, and really like got me through and had kept me focused on what we were trying to really accomplish.
Also thank you from us, because of you we got to meet him. So yeah, thank you, man.
Well, I'm glad you got to, man. He's a hell of a gentleman. He's super awesome. His family's super awesome. Like I said, it's super awesome to have him and his wife out there with us. I really am I don't think it would have felt as right to throw a 2-year anniversary party and not have Hexologist in the building. So, I was I feel super, super blessed just to be able to be in the position that I am in, to be able to offer that to someone who deserves it like that. It's awesome. It doesn't make me, it just brings a smile to myself. That's for sure.
Absolutely. We could feel it also, that also you didn't mention it at all. And I think you had to put a lot of amounts. So big respect to you for this move. That was pretty awesome.
Of course. Well, I really appreciate people noticing it and taking notice. But yeah, you're right. It's not like I'm not here doing this stuff. It's funny because like I get that there's a balance in all of that. I'm not here to do all like nice altruistic things just for my own, just to like be a clout chaser or anything like that. Like I really don't. It's like I want to do it for the right reasons, for the right people. Yeah. But at the same time, I do also understand, and like I found in my day that like it's cliche, but actions speak louder than words, and people when they see you doing things, tend to, consider to do more altruistic good things for others around them too. So like, I like when people take note and hopefully learn from it and choose to do, similar awesome things in whatever way they can in their lives. But at the same time, I'm definitely not like, look at me guys, look at all the cool shit I'm doing. Like, I'm not trying to do that, either. Like, I mean, you'll know if you know that I'm, what I'm trying to get done. And if like not, it's fine. It's not like I'm trying to force that down anybody's throat, I do enjoy offering my services and what connections and knowledge I have to the community for the betterment of our, for pumping our bags and for everyone else's experience too. That really brings joy to me.
Yeah. Awesome. And speaking of meeting the crew, like as a pre-night before the big event, you invited for a dinner crew members. Is that right? And, there was some interesting food, I heard.
There was. Can
you elaborate on that food choice?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So I got this book. Where is the book right now? So the book is a Louis Vuitton guide to London. They have done this travel series.
Oh, your wife gave it to you, right?
Yeah, my wife gave it to me. That's right. I posted a picture on Twitter. She got me. She's like, I'm a hard person to shop for. I mean, there's like nothing on Amazon that I want. There's nothing that there's very little that's like super excites me. But this book sure did. And so we started thumbing through it and finding like what we could find that was interesting. And there's some really cool recommendations in there. One of them was for this Scandinavian restaurant, Aquavit, which, I mean, God love them. They their service top notch. The food, I'm sure, is very close to true Scandinavian. Like they were going for like a very Nordic vibe, So like so in that, like,
but high
you're gonna
scale,
imagine, but high scale. It's a classy joint, it's real nice. And we initially started to thinking that this was going to be like a dinner between myself and my wife and like my entourage that I came with, which like we're all pretty adventurous folks. So like I figured like we could all handle some new, different, interesting foods. Well, that turned into then I was like, oh well, Hexo's coming. And I mean, it was like I kind of wanted to, poke a little, like get a little fun out of it too. So like I knew Hexologist was going to be there, so I invited him and his wife as well. Especially after I saw his first couple takes on London in his live streams when he's like, "Yo, people are crazy over here. This shit's insane. People are driving on the wrong side of the road. Your books are upside down." It was hilarious. I was dying. So I was like, it would be great to bring him out to this very interesting restaurant that like I'm a foodie and I only could recognize about, I don't know, half of the words on the menu as far as like what they're serving me. So I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. So let's do it, But then I saw the opportunity started to grow where I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like this is going to be like my crew and Hexo is going to be there. And then I have all these other people that we know that like we'll see each other at the party, but like, I know how parties are. Hey, what's going on? How are you? Nice to meet you. Yeah. There we go. Bye. It's like, I got to go get a drink. I got to go pee, whatever, it's just like, it's all fleeting moments, there. So like having some time to experience each other, over a meal would have been awesome. So I was called the place and I was like, yo, can you do like, first it was, can I do 12? And then it was, can I do 14? And it's, can I do 15? And there's going to be an extra tagging along. So it ended up being like 16 of us that came out, Funding and Motley and Wendy's and Hexo. And we had a whole Captain crew, RG and awesome. Kinetics. Yep. We had Hodel Dog. We all came out. Nice. Brent came out. Sai came by and had drinks with us afterwards. We had it really like I said, my crew, Hexual Manatee, my wife, they were all there. And we really had a great time, like with each other as a crew. But the food, was not exactly what people were expecting. I mean, like, I don't mind a pickled herring from time to time, but like starting off with like a whole plate full of pickled herring for everybody who most people here do not eat a pickled herring. They don't even know what the hell that is. Was wild because that just started it off. They had this cracker that was there that tasted somewhere between birdseed and black licorice. So like, you know, a strong anise taste meets the seediness of a birdseed. It was almost like a joke. You're like, is this a for real thing that you serve to people?
And this is in the beginning of the food, yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is the very good.
Yeah?
My friend Hexual Manatee, he's the one who was like, I need some. Can you bring me some crackers? Because they had this liver mousse pate, this duck liver pate that was like a mousse thing, and it looked exactly like the doo-doo emoji, and you know, just like plopped on your plate, you know. And I mean, all right, I like a pate, and this was really good, but everybody else at the table that saw that was like, you want me to eat the doo-doo emoji right now? I'm supposed to eat the doo-doo emoji.
They tried to find relief in the cracker, but it didn't.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's the, oh my gosh. So he asked for the cracker, and these crackers come out, and he was like, "Is this for real?" He was like disgusted by the flavor of these crackers.
The manager, they heard you guys.
Oh my gosh! So when they brought out the crackers for the next course as like part of the next course, we all saw them, and like my half of the table was very aware of what was happening. So like we're just holding it in, waiting to watch the other folks eat it, and watching RG3 eat this cracker was probably the greatest part of this entire meal. He's just like he ate everything there, and he was like, everything was terrible, and I ate everything anyways. And watching him be like, this cracker is the worst thing in the fucking earth. I mean, and yeah, as the waiter is taking our picture, we're still in the place, you know, we're still at the restaurant, and RG3 is like, worst free meal ever. This was terrible. I haven't had a meal this bad in so long. I can't believe people serve this as food. I was like, dude.
He said even the Swedish meatballs were nasty.
Yeah, he couldn't even handle the Swedish meatballs. I mean, I didn't think that was the case. I thought that there was definitely some parts of it that were not. I wouldn't have chosen to put anchovies in the potatoes, au gratin potatoes. Like I wouldn't put anchovies normally in that. It's not exactly
that's
what I was looking for. But it was fun to commune with everyone, even if the food left everyone wanting a burger later.
Just a safe numbers. Just go to the McDonald's, yeah, just to wash out the bad taste. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Have you guys met before? Actually,
some of us had. Some
American
of us had.
Mexicans.
I've met with Motley before. We got to hang out in Vegas.
Is he American?
Crypto Coffee, but yeah, he's from I want to say Florida, or he was up in Virginia area. So like I had met him before at Vegas. I met Crypto Coffee before in Vegas and in Chicago too. I'm a Chicago boy too, so when I was up that way, I made sure to reach out to him. We got together. Who else have I met? I've seen Gary before, Funding Jim. I've seen him in Puerto Rico is where I first met Gary. So like several of us had gotten together before, but and RG3 I've met as well before in Vegas as well. But
okay.
But it was new seeing all the European Hexicans were all new. It was awesome getting to meet and hang out with Hodel Dog was awesome. Sai was fantastic. Hex Toys Sai, man, he's a gentleman. Him and I collaborated to put together the after party over at Fabric, and man, whether it was like the smoothness of working with him was super kick-ass. I really enjoyed working with Sai. He was definitely super pleasurable individual to get to meet and
Markable is European, right?
Yes, I got to see Markable too. Although he was working pretty hard when we interacted at making sure the stream was going as it should have, which is awesome. So shout out to him for putting that on and making sure that all the Hexicans around the world got to see some of that too.
DJ Cryptomatic, shout out to DJ Cryptomatic.
Yes,
also greeting you, BK.
I owe you something, DJ. I will have that to you after the stream. I was again taking a little snooze when I should have been recording. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Yes,
I did my part today because I watched the Wake Up Hex stream and I reminded myself, oh yeah, I still have to send something. So Cryptomatic, my contribution is also on its way. How about you, Misha?
Nice. With my new microphone.
Yeah, very good. That sounds great, man. Sounds great.
Speaking of the party and Hexo, he was also funny at the party, dancing with his sunglasses and throwing his stickers, shilling at the party. And I do have a video. I was randomly taking a video actually because of the nice girls you mentioned in the silver dresses were coming out, dancing with Richard Hart. Suddenly there was Hexo and all these other people. And then even Huddle Dog came around and I was like, yo, lit. This is now really lit. And let me show you this video. You see Hexo on the right. You can see Hex in the back with his sunglasses.
Yeah. Elegant stickers.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great. I mean, in general,
Awesome.
what a kick-ass party. It was super fun.
And as Misha, you mentioned before, literally everybody was super nice, was ready to network. As you also said, Big K, it's completely different. Of course, it's great to connect via the streams online, right? Especially as the community is active worldwide. But if you meet in person, it's complete other dynamic, and everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was keen to connect, to exchange ideas. So
yeah, some people introduced themselves and then they were like, yeah, we know each other from Twitter, and then they pulled out their cell phone to show their picture, and then you were like, yeah, you that
guy. You gotta have the connection is wild. You have to, I mean, like, it's no problem for me because everyone's like, oh, I know exactly who you, and then you're interested, like, and because I'm not used to doing that kind of like face introductions like that, I find myself introducing myself like I'm not like yeah, I'm Big Krakowski. They're like, no, we're aware of who you are. Thank you. You don't have. No, I am this person. Here's who I am on Twitter. Oh, okay, yes. So, yeah, it's definitely it's different, but it's awesome. I mean, people like, and it's something too, is that like putting faces to Twitter profiles is really cool too, because I know that these cats, it's hard to have the same tangibility as a live streamer does, you know. But they're like, I mean, they're all super animated people that just don't necessarily want to get behind the camera and do this, you know, this video thing, you know. So feeling people's energy that, you know, definitely normally, you know, only see them say something intelligent or have a funny meme or something in person is totally awesome. It's really that and like some of the cats that I met along the way that like I've known as big promoters of Hex in Twitter and online. It was really cool to put a face to them and say what's up, and and thank them for what they do. I mean, I'm like mildly on Twitter, but like I don't have the unique posts and interesting memes that some people find the time to do, and God love them for doing that, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely. But Big K, I saw in your profile that you have a own channel on DLive. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Is it still active?
It's not active at the moment. So we do a non-for-profit. I started so when the pandemic began, there's a local charity that like Hex had just started, and there's a local charity that called Messengers of Hope by us in Newport Richey area, where my mother-in-law, she volunteers for them all the time. They do soup kitchen stuff, they do all sorts of stuff for homeless folks in the area, and they fundraise using a platform that was basically just a bingo. They played bingo at it was like a drag queen bingo thing that they did at the local bar once a month. And like when COVID happened, they couldn't do that anymore. It just wasn't an option. They had to stop that. And it was funding revenue source that paid for them to feed a lot of people in our community. And I realized that there was a need for this. There was a need to have so to be able to fundraise, and so I started to offer my services, and I put together a nonprofit and started working with them, because in Florida you can do these kinds of like these sort of like, wouldn't call them gambling, but sort of like finance, for what it would be like kind of gambling, I guess, but for charity work, with bingo, and having payouts and stuff. So since we were there and it's all legal and everything was on the up and up, I was like, let's do it. Let's do a live stream version of it. And I'll have people that I know in the community, either here in Hex or in the music community. Cause I've been a part of the music community for so long that I really wanted to reach out and help them as well, because so many folks that I knew in entertainment were just SOL. I mean, they just had people who I like respected and thought that at the top of their game had to completely change their income sources throughout that experience. I mean, we're running top end $1 million events and now they're making candles. That's huge changes. So I was affected by that and wanted to help out there too. And so, like I said, we just played a weekly bingo game where if you joined and paid $10 on PayPal, then you could you get a card, and we'd play 4 games, and whoever won each game got I think the winnings we started at was like 50,000 hex per win.
Wow.
And that's how long ago this was when we started. And we were giving away, so I was giving away basically like 200,000 hex every game, or every week or whatever, for people to come in and play some bingo. And like all the proceeds, all the money that was raised, people had the option. They could either take the 50,000 hex, or they could take the cash, or they could donate it back to charity. And I'd say about 50% of people donate it back to charity, which God love them. That's a lot of hex that they gave back to charity now. But we were able to, offer, like I said, we gave away well over 2 million hex in the time that we did that, if not more. And then we raised, thousands and thousands of dollars, for charity in the process. So like, it was a win-win for everybody. Awesome. And the only reason why it's not actually active currently at the moment is because of Ethereum fees. Thank you, Ethereum. So like right when big payday happened, things started to I had the plan to take a little break from doing it. I was doing it for a while weekly, and it was just too much to do weekly. So like, I think when we come back, we'll be doing either bi-weekly or once a month. We'll start it again when Pulse goes live. But until Pulse is live, I couldn't really, after big payday, it was costing me to give people, it was like the 50,000 hex at the time was like about a $50 bingo winning. That's I think what it came out to when I started. So like, I couldn't really give away $50 to people and pay $40 to $50 in transaction fees to do it. It was just super unsustainable model. So I was like, well, it just sucks that we're going to have to shelve it, but we're going to shelve it until there's some change in Ethereum fees. This is before Pulse even was like a dream.
Yeah.
And so when Richard announced that he's going to start his own blockchain, I was very excited, because now I don't have to just take it all down and have it as a dream, once dead. We'll probably, Bingo Earth has, made a sacrifice, and we'll be able to participate in offering some, doing some games and have some Pulse for people to win. And awesome. Hopefully they'll be able to hold on to it and do very well. I have one friend who played bingo, and they took their $10 bingo winning and turned it into 50,000 hex and staked it out.
Wow.
And early enough out to where now, and staked it out far enough to where I think they've got that 40 some odd $1,000 or something like that, or $30,000. A lot of money off of $10.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome stuff. I feel.
And when you stake that early, right? Like you save this very good t-share rate. So this is the nugget here. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's awesome. So like, I recommend people, I'm sure if you're following me and catching a happy hour or two, once this all starts back up and Pulse is live, we'll be able to do some more fun and have some more. Simple. It's bingo. It's nothing crazy, but like when it takes an hour.
That's cool.
And reaching different people.
And hopefully we have if y'all find that if you have a charity in mind that y'all want to do, I'd love to have you guys on, and you can call some numbers, and and talk about the charity that interests you. And usually we do, like I said, I split it where the guests, whatever guest, charity they want to have, they get half, and my in-house charity gets the other half, and then and everybody wins, and we all get to play some bingo.
That's awesome. That sounds really cool. Also, like to play just bingo. That's
awesome.
a win-win situation. Big K, you already mentioned that it's also public information that you are currently located in Puerto Rico. So I wanted you to ask a couple of questions. But before that, I just wanted to ask you another question. You mentioned that you got involved into Hex pretty early, but not only by just blindly investing, you could say, but actually you participated in the AA. Because, for example, myself, right, I knew about Hex, but I was a little bit allergic against anything else than Bitcoin back then because of the bear market and ICO mania and so on. So I didn't grasp the importance of staking back then, and staking long especially, but you apparently did. So can you explain what made you decide to go all in that early?
Well, I mean, I like a couple things. I mean, the first thing, I would be remiss if I wasn't honest that like I had lost a lot in crypto and had felt a lot of pain. So like when I found something that I could believe in, I was pretty impressed. Like I clung to it, So like I thought that this was going to be, and there's a level of it that was like that was me having the faith in it, but there's also this level of me understanding that like I've played enough poker in my day to know that when your chip stack is where it is, sometimes you've got to push all in, even if you're not blessed with pocket aces, it's just a stack size to reality of where I was at.
You can't fold all the time yourself to death.
No, exactly. So there's, and like I saw that this was the opportunity. Like I didn't know when another King 7 even was going to come along. So like if I didn't push in right now, then like it wasn't. I wasn't like I didn't know. Like I didn't have 3 more years to wait around. I didn't have, so like some of it was necessity out of my position, because I like of like how painful the market was to me. Some of it was the realization of what was here. Like I did understand, like I said, I have a math degree, so like I can follow like the layman's guide. I can follow the math. I understood everything of what was going on in Hex before, like as far as like when you would sit down and like read through the layman's guide and why things were the way they were. There's like some very fine details of like how the system, this when you unstake like this, or if you get a count like this, the shares might not get pulled. Some of those little details I didn't fully understand exactly because like we haven't experienced it happening. But almost everything else, I knew what the hell was going on, so like I felt very comfortable in all of that, and I was like this is I get that there is serious value in staking long, and I realized that I had the time. I had the time in a couple different ways. On the one hand, I had the time because I knew that the adoption amplifier was long. I was like, this is a 350-day launch phase. I'm gonna have plenty of time to keep getting in. And then on the other hand, I knew I had the time, and like that I'm 35, so when Hex started, I was 33. And like, was like in my life, I can foresee 15 years. I could, like most people weren't even near retirement by that point in time. So like, I understood that there was, that there was value in being early into the system. I mean, I understood that from mining too, that like part of my mining career was realizing that like I rolled out of bed to buy miners. If I would literally miss the boat by minutes in that shit, sometimes you'd be, you'd be out, so like that, maybe my history with live music events, I knew that from ticket sales too, same kind of thing. Some things are there's opportunity, and when there is, you want to jump on it. You don't
go big.
Yeah, you don't get tons of opportunity in life. You're gonna get, and the thing is that like now when you jump on opportunity and you like grab it, then you tend to find that it's easier to wrangle the next time, just because you can take it as it's coming at you, and you see it for what it is. You like, this is a chance at something. You can kind of do so with like I can do it at least now from a more comfortable standing, that like when I jump on opportunity, it's definitely not nearly as all in as it was at that point in my life.
Wow.
You know?
Awesome. That's crazy. That's crazy to hear. And so happy for you that, and also congratulations that you understood the system so much in details so early. Because as mentioned,
did you at one point think you have a big ETH bag and that might be good enough, or you were like, okay, I still gotta get?
Honestly, I had no ETH at the time. Like I was building, like, because initially it was Bitcoin Hex, and so there's this like honestly, there's when Richard told us that he was going to when the adoption amplifier became a thing, I can remember being upset. I can remember out the gate, like being like, oh crap, like this changes everything, because I thought that like I was still in the Bitcoin mindset a lot. And so in my mind with Bitcoin, I believed that like the scarcity of the Bitcoin was a big part of it. And that like Hex is going to have more value because less people were going to get to participate. I thought that only Bitcoin free claimers were going to be initially. That's how it was. There was no adoption amplifier, and initially it was only going to be Bitcoin free claimers. And I was like, that's amazing. And I had been building just a Bitcoin bag. So when he was like, oh, and you're going to be able to swap ETH for this shit, I was like, what?
And that's the biggest part also, like the amount of Hex compared to the free claim is like 95% maybe, or something.
Tiny.
That's
the
crazy,
adoption amplifier was key. And again, it was only because at this point in time I had unblocked Richard, and like I had already learned that like my whatever the hell I thought was worthwhile here or of value here was not it. I was just wrong. So if I hadn't experienced that already, I would have been more adverse to some of this stuff. But I felt pretty shortchanged at that point in time, that I had wasted all this time paying attention to this and building my Bitcoin bags to find this out. And like I was like, man, shit. I couldn't imagine there's been a few times in it where like I thought that I figured something out, I was like, oh, you could do this, and then you could do this, and then because this is all was an active development, Richard shored up that hole. It was like, oh no, actually that's not going to be a thing. And so that to me was what was going on here, because like I was not nearly as inclined to tell a whole bunch of people about this project unless there was incentive for me to. And so like I saw it as I had this huge incentive to claim my Bitcoin, and Richard even kind of talked about that and did very good job at protecting the project by having multiple input sources. So like he was right, I was wrong, but I can remember feeling like I was upset because whatever way I thought I was going to game the system wasn't going to work, which in reality is better for everything, because it's the way to game the system is to just wait. It's super simple.
I mean, we had this concept before where there was only free claim possible. I have to think about Bitcoin Cash, right? And I totally agree that, and it's also proven right that if there was only free claiming, probably most of us would just dump as soon as we get the coins, because we didn't put any real value behind it, like with the AA, where I have to put ETH in. So absolutely good move to add the AA, right?
Yeah, it was super good move. And like once I realized that actually the truth is that I was, because like I had at that point in time, I had no real allegiance to any of this. My feelings on Ethereum were relatively mediocre, considering that like I lived through 2017. So like I had a crypto kitty, like I had a bunch of, so there's all sorts of dumb things that were done. I'm sure I had several other. I can remember going to a Bitcoin conference where it was just like a ICO shill fest, and like I got my pen there, and I'm like taking notes on Wavecoin. That's gonna be super important because the banking, the fucking whatever. I thought that so like I made my decisions on what idiot projects I was going to invest in, and successfully wrecked myself through that too. So like had no allegiance to any of it, at that point in time. I mean, I was more like, okay, Bitcoin is safe or whatever. So that was why I was happy to amass as much as I could of that. But when I realized that it was actually like being able to free claim your Bitcoin and then also turn that Bitcoin into Ethereum and input that in the system was actually going to gain me a lot more strength in like, my buying power. Was when I figured that out, I was like, okay, that this makes a lot of sense. Then I was fine with it. I mean, it made more sense in a couple different ways. It made more sense because I realized that not only do you want to onboard more people and I would have more economic weight, but that, that the project would be stronger for being able to input all that Ethereum as well, so.
And onboarding new people was possible because there was this referral program, right? For the AA.
Yes. And that's another thing that, again, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, I was wrong and Richard was right about, and I'm happy to talk about it because like I can remember very early on in the launch of Hex, there's the referral links. Even before Hex was out, you could make a referral link, and like Richard dogged on people pretty hard early on because he thought that people could do better with referrals. He's like, I think he's like, I'm giving you all a chance at tons of this free money. He's like, and he straight up said, man, people retire off of affiliate programs. People make millions off of referral programs. And I was like, sure, Richard, whatever, I believe you, and I didn't really believe him in the truest of senses. And then I was going to pull one out. I made this. And so like, but you know what? I had been shown to be wrong time and time again. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to follow what he says, And so I made a card. I made this thing right here. This was like my little thing.
Lovely.
First blockchain CD, free to Bitcoin holders, buy it here, whatever, scan this thing. And I mean, I posted it in chat and Richard was like, that is amazing, except nice. Hex coin on it, drop the coin. And I was like, God bless it. I printed like 1,000 of these. Well,
we need a card like that, Meister.
Absolutely.
So I would give this out in every like check that I paid at every restaurant that I went to, at every place that I could. I was handing this to people, and like, nice. I mean, you could, I mean, I just showed it. You could scan and see, whatever. You could see the referral wallet that I had that, made, millions of Hex. I made a lot of Hex from just referrals, and like,
wow.
I was very like super impressed. I couldn't believe it,
I know how to do scalability, just like with the mining gear.
But I mean, that's really amazing, because also I can imagine you considered yourself back then, became like an ordinary participant, right? And even you made a lot of only through referrals. So this also shows the beauty
and I mean,
of
like, some of that, sure, it's still my referral link that I was like giving out to friends or whoever I could, but like, a lot of that referrals, like stuff in there, but I don't know those people. I do not know those people. I do not know how they got into the system. I like they like a majority of them haven't reached out to me and to like be like, you're the best or thank you or anything like that. A couple of them have, but most have not, so like, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, like, I can't.
I mean, they all must be pretty happy, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I've had a couple of them find me and reach out to me because they've seen the streams and stuff. But what I realized from London was that there's a ton of people that don't engage in all this stuff at all. Like they're like, I guess I'd say that there's several people that were there that you'd be like, hey, do you have, what's your Twitter handle? And they'd be like, I don't have a Twitter. And you're like, okay,
and they are quite deep into the scene. Actually, they're not just like newly participants, but they were OG Hexicans, but they just don't bother to get involved, which is fine, right? We all have our reasons, but and I can't fault them for that whatsoever. I mean, like, honestly, I'd probably be a better, happier person if I didn't spend so much time arguing with trolls on Twitter. I mean, that goes without saying. But like, I mean, it's important to note that, like, whatever we think is the community is not necessarily actually the community. I mean, it's bigger and broader than we really could.
Also, at the private dinner with Richard before the party, I can imagine there were some big shots that were, for example, not so much publicly known, but then maybe live you met them.
Yeah, there was definitely. I mean, I didn't meet Godwell or anything, or at least if I did, he didn't tell us that that's who he was.
Would be funny if he's at the table, just not.
Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be great. I mean, I'd love to. Like, there's a part of me that would love to shake his hand. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But like, I can't say that much, but I can say that, like, the people that were there, like, I mean, it was great that like they got to have what they were hoping to get out of it. I mean, everyone that paid top dollar to be there got to we all got to have some private time to say hello to Richard, as well as tell their stories to all of us, which was, I mean, I think what we all would like to have is like a good, to find a way to thank him for what he did, because it is very, very impressive. And
absolutely.
And then also to find a way to commune with everybody else who's been doing this for as long as we have been. I mean, I hope that they got everything they wanted out of it, because I know that, like, I did, and I felt super, super, like, blessed to be able to be. I mean, one of those, things where if you'd have told me 3 years ago that I'd be planning an event, making stuff happen for this community, I don't know, I would have been like pretty blown away. Like, I don't know, I mean, like, I didn't think that that's where this would all end up at, but
this is just the beginning, right? Like,
it is really just the beginning. That's exactly what that was my, when I was yapping with Richard, that was what I wanted to get across to him pretty solidly, is that, like, I don't think we're anywhere near done yet. I can remember being early on in Hex and thinking to myself, like, man, when we get to a penny, I'm gonna be blown away. I can't. And then, like, how fast it happened was so incredible. It couldn't, so now here we are, well over 10 cents, and still, I like, and part of me was like, man, this is like, part of me was thinking to myself, like, how far can this all go early on? Like I said, I don't think I even had the mind for it, and to realize where we are now, as far as where we will be in the next couple of years. It's wild to think about how that we're just really on one stepping stone along the path,
Absolutely.
And to see everybody in the community doing amazing things to, like, build the road as well is really cool. Like, I mean, I have a bunch of awesome plans and thoughts and ideas to get out. And, like, what I learned in London was that, like, so do lots of other people too. Lots of other people have awesome ideas and are executing, and have the means and the support around them to be able to do that. So very, very, very cool.
Absolutely. This is just the beginning. Also, Pulsion is around the corner. Pulse Swap, that's another beast as well. So looking forward for the future. It will be fabulous.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's a whole another thing too. Like what you had said, there's so many new cats in our community that are really interested in Pulse and have a lot to offer. I mean, you go and look at, I was just looking on, like, the testnet of all the different tokens that have been actively working on Pulse. And I mean, there's lists and lists and lists of people actively working on token projects. Well, some you've heard of, some you haven't, some that are, this interesting new stuff. I mean, don't get too much shiny object syndrome, because I'm not saying that, like, any of this stuff is, like, stuff to, like, invest in, but, like, it is cool to see people building, and, like, I'm sure that there will be some really, really legitimate projects that have some great offerings, and some great, pieces of new finance that we need. That's the thing, is that Hex does, time deposits, very well, in a blockchain world, but I know that we need every other piece of it too. So, I mean,
are you actively involved in the post-chain testnet version 2, you could say? Or are you
I've toyed around just a little bit on it, and like I said, I mean, I'm a few of us Hexicans, have been banding together. I'm part of the Legion Venture Capital group too, and we're working on some things for Pulse as well. So, like, I mean, I know that like I said, that there will be things developed on it. There's cool things coming. Cool things for Hexicans, cool things for Pulsicans, cool things for everybody along the way. Awesome. I think that I think that like, you know, like I said, future's super bright for all of us. Like there's a lot of opportunity in what Richard's creating. And it's honestly like, I mean, it's very reminiscent. Like I remember thinking about how like when Bitcoin Cash forked, you know, that like thinking that there's like something unique to be said about when a project. I remember when Ethereum Classic was forking, and like there's something to be said about like why like the what's the word for it, like the reasons and the opportunity that get created in when projects change and shift and fork, and like and really I'm excited to see what happens, because like, you know, most of the time when this stuff happens, there's more value that gets created, you know, like there's a $10 coin forks, and like it's not just like 6 and 4, usually it's like $7 and $5, you know, there's like some more value created there, because each side gets to kind of do their own thing, and you know, gets a little bit more room to breathe. And like I'm excited for our community to have the room to breathe and to develop and to, you know, create in our own space, you know, so that couldn't be any better.
Absolutely. Now I have to put my former pants on again.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And like, and being able to have like pulse swap, the idea, like what I was kind of trying to get into with all that is that like, I think that having this kind of airdrop, this kind of liquidity mining, this kind of unique proposition in blockchain is awesome. It's actually this side of things, like Hex excited me in a way that I hadn't felt. Like when Richard mentioned, you know, that he wasn't intending to make crypto fun again, but like people said, thanks for making crypto fun again. I felt that sentiment strongly, because like I felt like crypto is super fun to me early on, and I lost a lot of that zest for it, you know, until Hex. And Pulse Chain is about to make crypto really interesting again, you know, in a way that like, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens, because it is such a unique proposition. There's so many opportunities for coins to do well and projects to flourish that weren't. And there's so many opportunities for, you know, just unique value discovery in ways that like I don't think we've ever seen before. You know, I really am interested to see how people act and how they take advantage of this.
Especially because Pulse Chain is a network, right? So Hex is a finished product, and there's nothing that can be done unless you spread more the word and so on. But Pulse Chain, every moment, another project can just jump in, right? Or just transfer from existing chain like Ethereum to Pulse. So this is a whole different beast than Hex.
There was a guy on the London party. He wasn't a Hexican. He wasn't a Pulse sacrifice or anything. He was a marketing guy for a company that makes the hardware to 3D scan people. And they want to do it like so you can mint your own NFT of your own person in the metaverse. And they want to do the whole thing, copying yourself into the metaverse and NFT minting on Pulse Chain. That's why he was there. So you see how bored the diversity is of what's going on. Never heard about this cage.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like, and that whole I mean metaverse world thing being, you know, like I think I'd rather have it on our platform than not, you know. So like I think that it's great, you know. These people, I mean, there's you know, games are games and they're fun, and like I mean, like I said, as like financial applications, it's tough for me to like rectify the two and be like, oh yeah, I'm investing in that, you know. But at the same time, I find I've always enjoyed playing games. I find that there's usefulness in them, whatever the metaverse is. If it's a game, if it's a world, if it's a world within a game within a world, I don't know. But like I want it on Pulse. And whatever they're building, I like them to have the freedom to build, you know. Like I don't think that right now having to wonder if you can mint your fun little toys on Ethereum for hundreds of dollars, like I'd much rather it be cheaper for them to do that, so that like it can find some sort of reasonable value, you know. Like I think that you know, over hyping pixelated drawings is silly and doesn't need to be done. And like like we've played around with that, and it's cool. I mean, I get that, like but I think that having a platform where fees can be cheap and a lot of people can develop many different ideas, metaverses,
and to have
whatever.
the capacity, freedom of participation.
Yeah, that'll be great. I mean, that's what we need. That's what the crypto, the system really needs right now, is more options, and ones that work well, and are going to provide people with a backbone of users, and also support too. I don't think that's another thing that I don't think Richard will skimp on in all of this, is the support. I think that a lot of these other blockchains, I mean, he's talked about it before, like when you're trying to develop something on them, it's difficult. And a lot of the difficulty is because there isn't a setup infrastructure. Like I said, if I run into a mining hardware issue, I'm literally talking to 5 to 10 dudes that know that maybe have ever even experienced this problem, let alone know how to fix it. So I mean, like, and that's pretty across the board. I mean, many of these projects are that way. So finding, I think having someone like Richard who's willing to put in the rest of the infrastructure, like I said, the support around being able to give people proper documentation for how to make sure they're using the virtual machines properly to code, to develop is all awesome. I mean, I think that there'll be more of that with us. I mean, you can see that's already happening, because we've there's been merges upstream with the Geth client that we've participated in because of the development that is going on our side. So I mean, like that shows that, like, we'll be ideally a tighter, better built network, with better documentation and more resources in the future. That would be ideally.
BK, do you know, maybe last question from my side before we jump into another topic, do you know if the Hex developers are active on developing pools, or is it a complete different team now?
I'll be honest, if I told you that I know for 100%, oh, these guys are doing this or these, then I'd be lying to you. I don't exactly know. Like, I know there's a couple developers that are public that have spoken in the chats, but like, as far as are the same exact developers working on Pulse that worked on Hex, I mean, I'd love to gander, so yes, but I'm not going to give false information. So I don't really know that one. Although I do know that, like, the public figures that we know of that have developed or worked with Hex, AKA Dev Kyle, have been putting in their time, helping out as much as they can, offering insights and or information. So like, I know that we're all working at it, but I wouldn't, I'd be remiss if I could even dox anybody, because I couldn't.
Sure.
So I won't.
No, fair enough, of course. The reason why I also asked, and for sure you remember the stream of RG3 Hexologist with Dev Kyle, and like every time I listen to Kyle, he's one of the smartest persons I have ever listened to. You can totally feel it and listen to his intelligence. But when he was talking about the beginnings of Hex, he was praising the head of design of Hex, like he was the absolute best. And if a smart person like Kyle already praising the Hex devs like that much, that must be like the highest level of quality. So
I mean, I believe that gentleman or lady or whoever it was is a top end high, one of the best out there. And then the reason is because the project itself, when Hex was just a project before it had productification, the development moved much quicker when he came aboard. I like the
head of design, the lead.
Yes, when they came aboard, things because, like I said, they've understood things well enough to where most of the code that was in it is what they wrote, and they and like what was being asked, while not insanely complex, was hard for many people to either A, keep up with what workload Richard was giving with them, or B, was able to actually even get it done properly in a reasonable amount of time. So like, I know that there had been a couple changeovers in all of that. So the one dev, went public and was like, cried and bitched about Richard and stuff. But like in all, I think that, like, the right person for the job, came about. And like,
Nice.
if they have something to do with Pulse, then fantastic. I think that's awesome. But I do know that the moving pieces of Pulse are many, so I know that there's more than one like developer and or like group of development team that is putting, those that are working on the Pulse swap, have been somewhat, extra, aside from those working on Pulse, I'm pretty sure on those kinds of things that there's some separate development teams going on. But for the most part, I think we're in good hands. I mean, from what you can see as far as the merges and things moving forward, we're in good hands. I was in, again, I didn't really interject too much, but I was in the initial Pulse planning group for Pulse, as far as like, people like Richard pulled in to discuss the game theory and everything else. And I was impressed with everybody's thoroughness, as well as like ability to give each other space to like explain their thoughts and objections or supportive ideas, so I thought that everyone worked really well together. I mean, in a group full of more than 50 people, to feel like no one was really overstepping their bounds, and if they were kept pretty well in check, was awesome. Like, it's not easy. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in the Pulse chain chat, but it gets to be a wild spot, so like, having some people with like common courtesy and direction and all of it was awesome. I mean, like, it's nice to see that in development.
The Telegram, the official Telegram chat of Pulse Chain is crazy. There's always like 100, 200 people in the live chat. Doesn't matter if I go there at night or in the morning. It's always something going on, compared to Hex even, right? Like, yeah,
that's impressive. Massive. I mean, it's really cool to see. I mean, it shows that like we're like, Richard's trying to build financial tools that are life-changing and will actually reach many people. And like, you can see that like, if Hex was like we're as good as we think it is, which is amazing, I think Pulse is even closer. I think that like we're even like we're getting even closer. It's more relatable for people understand, like people that like Richard has said, people that didn't understand Hex entirely or will never want to understand it are definitely doing their best to get what's going on there. Just Absolutely. 1 second, I'm getting a knock here, so let me check my door.
Yeah, exciting times ahead, Hex Misha, right?
Yeah, because you mentioned the chats on Telegram, Pulse Chain. I recently discovered for myself the Twitter chats, voice chats. Have you ever been in one?
Actually, no.
Sometimes, known people, they open up a room for a topic, and then there's this Twitter voice chat room going on, and it was like a more modest, more polite thing of the Pulse Chain Telegram voice chat.
All right. Is it like nice. A new feature on Twitter?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Like you get invited, or you get a notice that they open up a Twitter voice room, and then you can join, and then you cannot talk right away. Like, you need to raise your hand that you want to participate in talking and not just listening. So it's more controlled,
I see.
But it was interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I like that a little bit better. I think that, I mean, it's tough because, like, I mean, I like that everyone having their place to say something, but it just gets crazy crowded sometimes.
Yeah,
and like,
absolutely.
And like making sure to moderate some of the information too is tough too. You like, there's some people who do incredible jobs in those chat groups. I mean, some people that like are just dedicated to that cause in a way that like I mean, like, I can pop in and out and everything, but like I cannot pay attention to a chat room the way that some folks have the time to. So like, hats off to all the Hexicans and Pulsicans, that like the admins that are out there that really spend their time not making sure that those new people that are coming aboard have the knowledge that they need to make educated decisions. And I know that sometimes we all on live stream goof around and have fun. But they're really doing like hard work in the trenches regularly.
Absolutely. So shout out to all the guys working in the background in the voice chats. while we having fun here.
Exactly.
Big K, maybe last topic, which I personally
Sure.
was very, very curious about. You mentioned that you grew up in Chicago and also lived in Florida, so in the US. But now, according to your Twitter profile, you live in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
For us Europeans, right, we are not super familiar with Puerto Rico. I wanted just to ask you if what is it that it makes it so attractive for maybe investors or
Yeah, I can tell quite a few things about it. So I first got interested in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is like, it's a commonwealth of the U.S. So technically, I like moving here. I didn't have to give up my U.S. passport or citizenship. But you do give up certain rights. Like I don't get the right to vote in presidential elections because the Commonwealth, only states get the ability to vote in presidential elections. It's fine. I can use a break from mainland politics anyways. But like what was so like my story really with why I came down here started with my wife's little brother and the hurricanes that came through here, Maria. A couple 2017 is when they came through. So like we started visiting. He came down here and had a employment opportunity to be helping with the restoration and cleanup.
the brother of your wife, you said, yeah?
Yes. So he came down to Puerto Rico to start helping with cleanup, restoration, all this stuff after the hurricane. There was I mean, I came out and saw their facility where everything was being pulled in. Like, I mean, just so much debris pulled off this island after the storms. It was insane. More than I could. I mean, 6 months of just piles and piles and piles and piles of debris brought in from all over the island.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Big K. Is Puerto Rico close to Haiti and both got hit pretty hard? Or
yes.
Was it just...
Yeah, it's like if you're looking off the west coast of Puerto Rico, you'll see you can like the first island that you'd come across would be Dominican Republic and Haiti. That's the nearest one off of that, like main so yeah, they all got hit pretty hard as well. It was this area this is like the biggest direct mainland hit that Puerto Rico's seen in 15 at least years, maybe longer. It was like 17 years or something since they had seen something like this. And because we're like far down the chain of all the islands as we are, usually the storms intensify and like hit Cuba, Florida, Louisiana, all that stuff. They tend to move through us, at lighter ranges. This one was super slow moving and just knocked on Puerto Rico, like hovered over Puerto Rico for a while. I had some friends who live on St. John, which is right off the coast of Puerto Rico to the east. You can see up there. There's like there's the Virgin Islands that are up there. And they're off that area, and they're rocked super hard too. So in the wake of that, there's a lot of work that needed to be done out here, and my wife's little brother came out to do the restoration work, and I started to visit and come and I was interested in solar power for mining. I was interested in helping with with what needed to be done down here. I was also interested in seeing what was going on. Just like I'd never been to Puerto Rico. It was part of the U.S., but it's very far removed from any part of the mainland that I was used to.
And how are the Puerto Ricans? Are there like classical, you could say, Caucasian Americans? Like you imagine
so Puerto Rico before U.S. rule was owned by the Spanish. So Spain has there's a big Spanish influence in the population. There was like a native population that was here that I think they're called the Tano, tribes people that were on island too, but they had mixed in with the Spanish quite a bit. The Spaniards that had there were colonialists that were here quite a bit. So like old San Juan has a super Spanish style feel to it. The forts were built by the Spaniards there. So like, and the culture shows it too. The musics of choice are gonna be salsa, bomba, stuff like that. There's a third one too that I can't remember the name of. they all are very popular. And like, you know, as far as like foods and stuff go, similar. I mean, it's island stuff, but then also Spanish influence. So like I like, as a foodie, I really like Iberico ham. I don't know if you've ever had or heard of Iberico ham, but like comes from the Iberian Peninsula, and where Spain is, it's like a specific type of pork that they acorn finish the pigs, so they feed them only this specific type of acorns in their like final season of their life. And they're like the Wagyu of pork, you know. It's super delicious stuff. And like as soon as I came down here, I saw like when I land in the airport, they like have like the big hanging loins of Iberico ham, and you're just like, oh my gosh, amazing. Like
pork
I don't see that I don't see that really anywhere besides Spain, you know. And like most of the good Iberico ham that you get, it like doesn't get very far outside of Spain or Spanish influenced countries. Like, you know, you have to go to some specialty market in the US to get this kind of stuff, whereas like at like regular grocery stores I can get kick-ass Iberico ham. So anyways,
so food is good, in
food is amazing, super awesome. And that's kind of their background, as far as where they like the type of people that you'll run into. And the language spoken is mostly Spanish, but it's like a Puerto Rican Spanish that's a little different than typical Spanish. I'm still working on it. There's some funny Puerto Ricanisms that I always talk about, like that I bring up, that like because they got oranges brought to them for the longest time. Like another, like orange in Spanish is naranja, but in Puerto Rican Spanish you could also say china, and that's because all the oranges that came here for years and years and years came from China, and so they just that's the word for orange. So like you would go to anywhere other Spanish speaking country in the whole world and be like China when you look at the color orange, and people would be like, what the heck are you talking about, you know? But like here, that's orange. That's just super cool and unique.
And how's the price level?
Great. I mean, like, as far as, I mean, like, it depends on what you're looking for as far as like housing and living and stuff. But like, I mean, if you're fine with street food and the locals, you know, sourced ingredients, super cheap and super delicious. I was just we stopped by a little food truck on the way home yesterday and had a couple of bacalaoitos, which are like these like cod patties. They're like fried cod breaded patties. They're super delicious. And they're like, got a couple of those, alpicaria, that's like a little fried meat pie full of delicious octopus, and then and a drink, and it was like I think I spent $5.50 or something like that. So like, I mean, you can get, you know, eat super cheap, or then if you want to go, there is also like top end kick-ass flown in from Tokyo sushi. If you're into, you know, fancier dining and all that stuff, you can eat. That's all available here. So it's not like, you know, I mean, the range is wide, you know, and it is still the US in the sense that like there's Walmarts and McDonald's and Pandas Expresses and whatever else you're super into that is here too, you know. So like
cool.
You still have like the shopping element of all that. You still have the nature element. We have like the only rainforest, like subtropical rainforest in the US. So like it's super cool that, you know, to go through El Yunque and see all the, you know, the
beautiful
wildlife.
beaches.
Yeah, beautiful beaches. I mean, you can be at the rainforests and like at waterfalls, and like 15-minute drive you can be in the beach, you know. I mean, there's not many places in the world that you can juxtapose that.
So you moved there, BK, you moved there independently of any relation to investment or crypto and so on. It was more to your brother.
I'll be honest about the whole the whole conglomerate to why I'm here. I mean, like I love. See,
if you're
sure, of course. I mean, like I'm comfortable with
it doesn't need to exclude each other, right?
No. So like I moved. I mean, I love Chicago. I grew up there. It's a fantastic spot, but it's cold. It's too cold and dry. I have super terrible skin. So like I have psoriasis real bad, and like, I mean, it's pretty under control. And like,
were you the one who told me it's called the Windy City, not because of the wind, because of the politicians, because they're windy sometimes?
Yes, that's technically why the bulls and the bears and the politicians and the markets and everything. That's where it all came from, you know, initially. But you know, but technically, yes, that's true. It is also a very cold and windy place too. So it's like you can chop it up however you'd like to.
Okay, that's the nice spicy thing about it. Yeah, it can be both.
Yes.
Awesome.
But it can be it can be like I said, either way, it's a cold place. It's a cold place, and I'm trying to be there. So that's why I moved south, and like Puerto Rico is even further than Florida, and really thoroughly enjoyed just the environment as much. I mean, being able to be by the beach where as often as I'd like to be, the salt and sea is like great for my skin too. So like all that coupled with the tax benefits that you can find down here as a U.S. resident are also super beneficial as well. So like I can't, I love the environment, I love the people, I love the food. It's great for my body, and also as a U.S. investor, you can reap incredible tax benefits by being by sourcing your income while being a Puerto Rican resident. So that's also another reason that's helpful. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that point as well.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, as mentioned before, for us Europeans, we are not aware of the benefits of Puerto Rico, not only from the cultural side, but also maybe from the tax benefit side. So it's always interesting to hear what's happening there. And if I recall correctly, Funding Jim Gary is also promoting Puerto Rico as a relocation.
Yes.
place?
He was the one that like helped. He was, when I moved down here, I met him, and he was able to, help me out as well with some of my relocation stuff too. But because it is, like I said, it's different culture, and it's still the U.S., but there's some things that are different. So finding your way takes a minute. But yes, that is definitely for U.S. citizens. It's like they want to entice people to move here. They'd like for investors to come this way. There's opportunity here, and they like to offer it as best as possible to folks. So because of that, I'll come at you from this angle.
Nice. Cheers.
Yes. So because of that, they definitely that's like part of the benefits of being here is the fact that if you move here from mainland US, you can get reduce your capital gains tax and your income tax quite a bit. So which I'm all about paying my fair share, but also all about reducing that if possible. So that's part of the benefit from being here as well.
Absolutely. Nice. And do you you live in the capital of Puerto Rico, San Juan, you said, or?
Yeah, I spend most of the time there. We're just outside of it, but that's where, if we're not, there's also, it's funny because it's not that, it's a big spot, but it's not that big, it's like 100 miles across by 35 miles wide, but there's a lot of mountainous areas. There's unique ass spots all over the place. So, I try and find my time as close to the beach, and then with some reasonable amenities as well. I'd like to make sure there's decent internet and all the rest. But like I said, Rincon is awesome. Luquillo is awesome. Those are some of my favorite spots to enjoy and hang out. Like I said, there's great restaurants all around San Juan and Dorado area. There's a lot of kick-ass spots to find yourself.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah, the whole package sounds good. Sorry, Meister, go ahead.
Sorry, Misha, for interrupting. I wanted to ask if there is, as it is a small island, are there many, you could say, mainland U.S. citizens that
I would say
accept the benefits? And
not as many as when you're like zero, no taxes, whatever. People, you'd think more people would take advantage of it, and I don't think that it's either just not promoted that much, or the people, the culture shift is a lot for some people, or whatever that may be. But there is in our area there's quite a few, but it's not there's still mostly Puerto Rican people and Puerto Rican families that I'm interacting with.
Do you see it increasing concerning crypto?
I would imagine so, but it's not like I'm not like feeling it it's not like I'm seeing like U-Haul trucks with gringos moving in every other week. It's not, that's not really
the gringo invasion.
No, it's not. That's definitely not entirely happening. Which is, like I said, it's fine either way. I think that having people come and invest and offer, whatever services they would like to is awesome for the island. I mean, I think that there's a lot of room for that. But I also think that they like keeping whatever local culture is here, and appreciating it, and not just like, I'm not like here showing up to just like, hey, it's my way, shut up. I'd rather get involved with.
Would you say Spanish is a must when moving?
No, I don't. I mean, like, it's not a must, but I mean, like, it'll get you further. I'm not insanely well versed in my Spanish. Like, I can get through an order and most like basic interactions, but I'll be honest with you, most of the time when I start an interaction in Spanish and someone recognizes my less than adequate version of Spanish, they would just answer me in English. They're
like the Germans.
Like, the Germans do the same all the time. Like, as soon you notice someone he's not fluent in German, you don't want to spend time educating him, whatever. You switch to English.
You switch straight over to English. Like, okay, see what you need here.
Unlike the French, right? Like,
no,
they don't care.
It's different all around the world too. Yeah, and then when I was in Tokyo, it's like completely, they're just, most people don't speak English and don't have any,
I was surprised, right? Like, it's a super developed country, but few
they're just not even they're not even interested. They're just not even, they've got their own shit going on, their own, and it's they're fine with that, then like they like most places in the world, I can be a dumb American and be like, hello, I need help here, help me somebody, and like some English speaking person comes out of the woodwork and is like, what the fuck do you need? I get it. Yes, with your mouth, fantastic, right this way, but not in Japan. I just would be like, hello, and people would be like, sorry. They walk right around you and just down their own way. Okay, great, fantastic. Are you getting any help here? Great. Okay, so that's but I'd say in Puerto Rico, most, like, I mean, if you're outside of main cities, if you're in the mountainous areas or the rural areas, it will definitely benefit you. There are quite a few people probably don't speak that much English, but it's not to say that you can't get. But like, I mean, again, my Spanish is less than adequate, and I do just fine. I'm trying more every day, all the time, but like I said, half the time they're just like, okay, what's going on?
Have you been in Puerto Rico for a couple of years, or was it just recently?
No, we started the move about midway through last year.
And Gary supported you on the way. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like, I mean, he was definitely helpful. I mean, he had some resources along the way, as that I was super happy that he was able to offer. So
cool.
Because we got very interested as soon as he talked about Hex University. So we're looking forward to hear more about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what everything that we come up with that too. Like I said, I think that there's a lot of opportunities to like grow the community now and like put and strengthen everyone's like, understanding of, how to continue to keep their bags, like long term. I think that that's going to be an important piece of all this, that like, that's why I can appreciate everybody that's out there trying to find ways to assimilate Hex into some version of legacy finance one way or another, or attempting to like, grow the Hex community in a way that like makes us all more financially literate and able to, what's the word for it? Levy what value we've created into tangible changes in the world around us without causing too much downward sell pressure on what we all think is an amazing innovation.
Absolutely. We also try to do our part here with the stream. I mean, it's fun and an honor for us to be joined by persons like QBK, but of course it also should contribute our goal is basically we would like to see a Hex live stream anytime. So we would like to contribute this 1 or 2 hours per week to make that happen rather sooner than later.
Exactly, and thank you for the trust and thank you for your time. I know you said you have children, so that's very nice of you. Thank you.
Of course,
son.
gentlemen. Of course. Sorry for the. My wife is.
No worries.
My wife is dropped me off a delicious beverage, so I appreciate her so very much. So
nice.
I have a problem with drinks, and that like I like to have all of them. Like to have a glass of water here. If you are watching me on stream ever, you'll see me sometimes like reach for like up to 3 different beverages at a time. Like I'll have maybe I'll have a little wine. Maybe I definitely need a water, and it's like most important. And then oftentimes some sort of caffeinated something.
Nice. Yeah, the water part I unfortunately skipped it at the London meetup, but should have put more water between the drinks.
Yeah, the open bar was good, man. The drinks were good.
That was great. I was very impressed with, like I said, the event in general was awesome, and yeah, the bartenders are great. That was lots of fun.
Absolutely. Cool. We are 2 hours 20 minutes in. Yeah, go ahead, BK. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, but I will say that I was good, and I managed to make good use of the water, and was able to stay up and enjoy quite a bit of the after party as well. The food at the after party, I will say, I'm still impressed. It's like finding late night caterers that crush as hard as they did. That was great too. So yeah.
And did you take one of the transfer buses, the double deckers, or did you go privately?
I made sure to put all the buses together for everyone as well too. That was I thought that was a lot of fun actually. We the bus ride was pretty cranked up. So yeah.
Absolutely,
yeah, I think
absolutely. We managed to go into the second bus so with Hex Bastard, and yeah, we had some good time there as well. I mean, it was really cool that the shuttle was provided. I'm not sure if I understood it correctly. Did you sponsor it or?
Yeah. I put like I said, Sai and I were the ones who decided. Simon from Hex Toys and I were put together. We're decided that we knew we needed to have something for after the party. I mean, the party is fun, but I felt like we only got this much time with everybody, so it was nice to have somewhere awesome like that. I mean, Fabric is one of the coolest spots in London to throw an event like that. So being able to put all that on, and then I felt like it was super necessary to make sure that there were shuttles to get everybody over to the club too. So we added that on too. So
cool, man.
That was like I said, all necessary pieces of the puzzle to make sure that turned out like it was.
And the unique experience. When we were up there on the upper level, driving to Fabric, pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that, BK. So thank you for sponsoring the shuttles, man.
Of course, man. Of course. Like I said, one of those things that I've always when you do events and you put things together for others to enjoy, like the shuttle bus is one of those things that I it was super fun. And after the moment is over, a lot of times whenever the event happens, there's that awesome, magical, that tangible afterwards absolutely. You're there it was, you almost you felt like you're the ground you were walking on was made of, sponges and magic, or something. And when you can't, it's really difficult to always make sure that is a guaranteed, we're going to have some magic moments of greatness in an event, but I do know the way is that you can put the pieces of the puzzle in place, and hope that with the right, mixture that the spark is there. And so I think that we put the right mixture together. We definitely had tons of sparks at each of the events, so I'm even before and after, whether it was fancy but mediocre meal at at a strange Scandinavian place, or or like the kick-ass dinner that I got to share with Hexo before we all took off last night.
Yeah.
Like each of those pieces of the puzzle, like we put the right sparks in, like the tinder was there and the sparks happened, and like I think there was a lot of magic. I mean, I think tons of people got a lot of great value out of all of it. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for being there.
Absolutely. No, we have to totally agree. And we also had, we also had to take a lot of hassle. I mean, we are from Europe, right? But there were still restrictions and all this testing, quarantine, and so on. And before the event, we were a little bit hesitating, or this will be stressful. But after all, we are so happy that we took that all and could participate. So we were pretty hyped after the party, and also the whole London trip. That was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. I'm hoping that they make that a regular thing, or we do some version of it next year as well.
Next is probably Las Vegas, in March.
Yes, Vegas in March. So if y'all are interested in coming out to that, that'll be fun too. I'm excited to see what.
Man, I would love to go, but I'm not sure if I can. And
I feel it's a wild far time.
Like a 3 years birthday party, will be there something, or 4 years, 2 years event, London, or do you know something?
Like I said, I don't know. I hope that they care. I mean, when you put together a good event, you can choose to like carry that forward and make it into something, or you can like just be like, oh, that was a thing, and if it was worthwhile, and like I said, if there was good magic there, then like I think that they should do their best to make it a thing, so I mean, I hope that like I can't guarantee that I'm going to be like at the center of making sure that it happens every year by any stroke of the imagination, but I would love to be at that event again, or something close to it, and helping to add on some pieces of the puzzle as well again, because like it was a lot of fun to be a part of it. Nice. and to help out in whichever way we could.
To the next events that will come for sure. The next one, as Misha mentioned, Vegas, the online event for Maddie Allen. So we have a long road to go. Pulse Chain is coming, Pulse Swap is coming. EHEX, PHEX, oh my God. There will be so many events.
There is a lot of crazy stuff that is coming up. I mean, there'll be some great, with all of that, comes with like lots of kick-ass live streams from, Richard and from all the rest of us. And then from there, parties of galore. I mean, I know that you said Crypto Sparbuck guys have stuff going on in Miami. Then we got Vegas. Then we got, I'm throwing out the first pitch in Chicago sometime this year at a Cubs game. Nice. That should be fun. I bought an NFT for that. That's very silly of me. I don't recommend anyone do that, but we're gonna turn it into a fun little marketing event, and Hexkins are all invited. So yeah, that should be great.
Awesome.
More to come too.
Yeah, Hex hits $1. There will be a lot of people that have the means to organize something nice and throw something. So bright future.
Oh yeah.
And the good thing about London was we met you, and now you were here today on our stream.
Exactly.
2 hours 30. So I think the longest guest we ever had. It was amazing, Big K.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
That you woke up and come on our stream. It was a fun one.
Oh yeah, awesome. I had a great time. Thanks Hex Mishka. Thanks Meister Hex. This has been super awesome. Like I said, when Bingo Earth cranks back up, I'd love to have y'all on calling numbers once too. So yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to more fun stuff with y'all in the future. I'll keep an eye out for all your next Hex Grassroots.
Yeah, it would be nice to meet you in person again then.
Yeah.
And if not, maybe come as a second guest on our stream again.
Yeah, for sure. Of course.
Would be honored.
I'd love to. This is a lot of fun, and yeah, when y'all come on down my way, for sure to make sure to reach out. I'd love to go on out and take y'all out and show you a good time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Big K, to take the time, and it was a pleasure again to talk to you.
Yes, thanks everybody. I appreciate everyone spending the time with hanging out with us.
Have a good day. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, guys, you heard it. This was Hex Grassroots number 10 with our guest, Big K. It was an awesome stream. And maybe to you, Meister, famous last words.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy we made it happen. I'm super happy that Big K showed up. Was also meeting him in London now again. The community is really good. You can feel, as Big K also described, the strength of the community, doing all sorts of streams, all sorts of events. And I'm looking forward to the next stream and to the next party.
Stay tuned, guys. Next stream will come for sure. Tune in. This was Hex Grassroots. Good night.
See ya.